let me introduce you. President Juan Manuel Santos is the former president of Colombia and the recipient of the 2016 Nobel Prize. And he did a lot of efforts to end Colombia's 50-year civil war. But also he is doing a lot of great efforts to protect biodiversity, and he was awarded the Royal Botanic Gardens Kew International Medal and the Wildlife Conservation Society Theodore Roosevelt Award for this. Hello, good to see you, President Juan Manuel Santos. You probably don't remember, but we met in Dubai during the GESF conference, I think 1 or 2 years ago. It's such an honor and a pleasure to have you. And we will be having questions for you today. We chose to have an interview with you. But first, I will leave you to share some thoughts. But the questions will come from students from across the world.
Thank you so much. And it's an honor and a pleasure to participate in this event. As you just said, I have been very interested in promoting peace around the world after making peace in my country, and also promoting the preservation of our planet and the policies against climate change. I truly believe this is the number one threat and challenge that the world has, much more important than the pandemic. This pandemic that we're going through is a consequence precisely of not taking care of our planet. And if we don't build enough conscience around the world about the importance of stopping global warming, about the importance of stopping climate change, then we will have no future. So I have dedicated my life now to promoting peace around the world and promoting sustainability and stopping climate change. And I think we have to act now. We cannot delay. This is a challenge that we are confronting, not in the future, but right now. And we are seeing it all around the world. You see what is happening in the North Pole, the South Pole, in our oceans, what is happening in California with the forest being burned, all around the world. And we have to act right now. So I really think that the work that you are doing of trying to explain to the young people the importance of this issue is of vital importance, because if people don't acquire this conscience of really feeling as their own life, the life of the wildlife and the nature and the environment, then we will continue in this path that we are now in, and this will be very, very dangerous to the planet. So I congratulate you and thank you for the work that you do, and I encourage you to continue, because this is a long-term policy that we have to implement without stopping, and I think we have to increase it as time goes by, because time is running out. So thank you so much for all what you are doing, and I am honored to put my little grain of salt in this venture, because I think it's so important.
Thank you so much. And also, thank you so much for your dedication. Let's start with the first question. And this is from Alexander from Colombia, from your country. And he is asking, like, how do you think environmental education in schools could change or help tackle climate change? What is the importance of environmental education in this whole matter?
Well, it's a very important question because the way we behave as human beings is what has, in many respects, damaged our environment. So our behavior is fundamental, and a new approach, a new way of seeing nature is absolutely necessary, and that has to start with the young kids in school. The more the education involves and takes into account the importance of nature, the better off we will all be. If we don't do that, I put it on the contrary, if we don't do that, then all the other efforts will be to no avail, because if we don't change our behavior, and our behavior is being formed slowly through our education, then we will be in trouble.
Yeah. So it's always a struggle between giving priority to economy and climate. And we have been seeing this with COVID as well. Should we go for a lockdown, which is bad for economy, or should we go for healthcare? So how would you say is how to find a good balance between economy and climate/environment?
Well, they are not mutually exclusive. You can address both. However, you must understand that if you don't have a healthy environment, the economy will never work. And on the contrary, a healthy economy will not guarantee a healthy environment. So you must concentrate on preserving our environment, and there are many ways of changing the behavior of the production system and continue to generate production and generate profits, but without damaging the environment. So, in a nutshell, I would prioritize, the priority is sustainability, and find ways through innovation and new ways. We are already seeing that in many cases that will preserve the economy, but at the same time preserve the environment.
Okay. So what would be your message for other world leaders who don't necessarily listen to researchers in this conversation?
Well, this is one of the big problems that we have. The leaders who simply don't hear the scientists, don't look at the evidence, and that they think that they know better, and they are wrong. The more we see what is happening in the world, and the more we see the evidence that is demonstrating that we must address climate change, the more dangerous is this attitude of neglecting the problem. Therefore, my my call is for the people to force the leaders to take into account climate change in those countries where those leaders don't want, for whatever reason, to accept a reality that we are living all around the world. We need to press them, we need to wake them up through public pressure from all sides of the political spectrum, from the right, from the left, because we are all inhabitants of the same planet. We are all one race. There's the environment doesn't distinguish between one race or the other, or one nationality or the other. We are all in the same boat, and we should all have conscience of the importance of stopping climate change.
Wonderful. And finally, last question. What is your hope for the future?
Well, my hope for the future is that this pandemic will show us, and it's showing us, and we have to take advantage of that, that science and the evidence is important. And I hope that we reconnect with nature. We are suffering because for many decades we have a disconnection with nature, with Mother Nature. And we need to acquire something that I learned from our indigenous communities, that everything has life. The rivers have a life, the trees have a life, and nature, we must respect nature. We cannot control nature. We must live with nature. We must nurture nature. And if we approach what we have around us and see the future connected with nature, then we can live a much more positive life. Even economically, there's, as I said before, there's no trade-off. We can continue to make a lot of progress, but never forget that nature is important and we must connect with nature in order to preserve the planet. And if we do that, we will have a much better future.
Thank you so much for sharing this wonderful message. Thank you so much, President Juan Manuel Santos. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And congratulations.